seated position to start. I like to put a blanket up under my hips because it really helps your knees drop, especially if you're seated in cross-legged pose like this. Sometimes when people have really tight hips, they'll try to sit like this and they'll be kind of like leaning back with a hunched back and their knees will be up. But when you use the blanket here under the hips, it can really help you sit straight and help you drop those knees to the side. So let's come get ourselves nice and centered in an easy seat position, rooting down through both sit bones, both hips, long spine. Just coming into your breath, becoming aware of your breath, separating yourself from the outside world, anything that you've been worrying about today. Placing my hands on the knees, palms down. Deep inhale, lifting up the shoulders towards the ears, and exhale, releasing the shoulder blades down the back. You can gently close your eyes or you can keep them open. Let's repeat this a couple times. Deep inhale, shoulders up. Exhale, let them fall down the back. Repeating that a couple times with the pace of your breath. On the last one, just allow the shoulder blades to fall gently down onto the back. Sitting up straight, chin slightly tucked, shoulders falling away from the ears, facial muscles relaxed. On the next inhale, let's raise the arms up slowly to above the head, keeping them shoulder width apart. Gaze can be slightly up or straight ahead. Exhale, pull the elbows down to the sides and back. Cactus arms. Inhale, reach up straight. Exhale, drop the right arm to the floor. Fingertips to the floor and allow the left arm to fall overhead, keeping both hip bones rooted. Just leaning and allowing that stretch to happen in the rib bones. You've got a downward arrow on the left hip and an upward arrow on the left armpit. On the next inhale, we'll come back up. Arms up. Exhaling, cactus. As you exhale, really sucking in the core, the belly. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, other side. Left fingertips to the floor. Right arm up and over, rooting down through the right hip. We'll go through this cycle, inhaling, arms back up. Exhale, cactus. Pulling the elbows back and feeling that stretch in the front body, front chest. Inhaling back up. Exhaling to the right. Exhale completely. Maybe lean a little bit deeper this time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus, palms forward. Feel the stretch in the shoulders and the front body. Keep the core engaged. Inhale, arms up. Exhaling to the left. Maybe dip a little deeper. Don't forget about that right hip. Rooting down. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, back up again. Exhaling to the right. One more round after this. You can move with your breath. Trying to make the movements the same length as the breath. When you begin inhaling, begin moving. When you begin exhaling, begin to lean. Feel that nice stretch in between the rib bones. All right, one more round. Exhaling to lean. Gaze up and under the arm. Inhale back up to stretch. Exhaling to cactus. And the final side. Going really deep. Inhaling up. One more cactus. Pull those elbows back. Get a nice stretch in the back and the front. Exhaling, hands to heart center. And down to your knees. Okay, we'll move into a table position. So remove your blanket if you've been sitting on one. And come to a table. We'll have our hands, fingers spread really wide. All the fingers spread nice and wide. Rooting in through all the corners of the hand, from the base of the index finger, the base of the pinky, down to the base of the thumb as well. The hands are planted right underneath the shoulders, and the knees are planted right underneath the hips. We'll do a couple cat-cows here. So on the inhale, drop the belly, tilt the tailbone up towards the sky, pull the chest through the upper arms, and keep the gaze forward. Don't crunch the neck. Allow the spine to begin to warm up. Exhaling, leading with the tailbone, tuck the tailbone, then press into the hands, and arch the back up, and let the head hang loose. Begin to inhale, tilting the pelvis up, pull the chest through, gaze up, exhaling for cat, arching the back upward, sucking in the tummy, inhaling for cow, gaze forward, chest comes through the arms. Want the arch to be in the upper back. Exhaling, cat. And one more cow, inhaling cow. And come back to a neutral spine. Don't forget that the head and the neck is part of the spine, so don't let your head be too far down or crunched up. Just thinking about the neck as an extension of the spine here, and using muscles in your neck and shoulders to maintain stability. Let's take a deep inhale here in table, and then exhale, keeping our knees and hands where they are. Begin to stick your hip out to the left and turn your head and gaze like you're trying to look at your left butt cheek. Inhaling back to straight. Exhaling, turn to the right and gaze at the right butt cheek. Completely exhaling. Inhaling back to straight. Exhaling, gaze to the left. Moving that hip towards your head. Inhaling back to aligned. Exhaling to the right side again. Inhaling back flat. That's another really good lateral stretch. Okay, so now let's begin to do a kind of extended version of cat-cow. So we'll push into our hands and knees, arch the back as we exhale into a cat, and allow the hips to come back onto the heels. Pushing into the hands, pushing the hips back towards the heels. On the inhale, we'll come through, bring our chest low to the mat, come to the belly, and inhaling up for a baby cobra pose with the tops of our feet remaining on the mat pretty much the entire time here. So that's the inhale. Exhale, push into the mat, arch the back up, and sit it back into a child's pose. Inhale, you can even put your elbows down as you transition and maybe scoot out a little bit. Inhaling to cobra. That's the way that works the best for me. Follow with your breath. Find whatever way it works for you. Exhaling, child's pose. Inhaling, slide the hands. Baby cobra. Lifting the knees off of the mat to engage the legs. Exhaling, slide back. Child's pose. Inhaling, come through to baby cobra. Let's cycle through this maybe 3 more times. Just moving with your breath. Moving into any places that feel extra stiff or that just need a little bit more time. If you want to push a little higher in Cobra, or maybe just remain in Child's Pose for longer, or wiggle back and forth. If your shoulders are feeling stiff, whatever your body needs right now. Couple more rounds. I know everybody's been probably sitting at a computer all day. And these back bends and warming up the spine are a great way to counteract that. Okay, after your last Child's Pose, let's inhale back up to table position. We'll begin to tuck the toes underneath the hips here. We're going to come into our first downward dog of the day. So tucking the toes, planting the hands about shoulder width apart. Beginning to press into the feet, lift the knees, lifting the hips up, and finally pressing the chest back towards the top of the legs. The key ingredient here is the hip lift and acting as if somebody's pulling you up towards the ceiling by a string. If your heels are off the ground, that's totally okay. It's better to keep your spine straight than to really go for the heels down. If your heels come down and you're flexible enough for that, then go ahead and drop the heels. Let's take a couple good breaths here, downward facing dog, maybe pedaling it out, bending the right knee and straightening the left, bending the left knee and straightening the right. Wiggle bit side to side, whatever you need to do to get a little bit more warmed up here in your downward dog. I'm going to adjust my camera just a tiny bit because I don't think you can see most of my mat. Okay, should be good. After a couple breaths here, let's take a deep inhale, gazing forward towards the hands. And on the exhale, take tiny little steps, feet all the way up to the hands. Inhale, hands to the calves, or flat back, gaze forward, extend the spine. Exhale, fold down and allow your head to hang heavy. Maybe grab elbow to elbow. Wiggle back and forth a little bit just to release any tension in the spine. Compression, I should say. Shake it out. Relax the head. Relax the muscles in the face. Anything you're holding in there. When you're ready, begin to slowly stand up, bending the knees a little bit. Come to Tadasana. Tadasana can be with feet hips width apart or with feet together, toes touching. The main important thing here is to keep the outer edges of the feet parallel so that your hips are safe. We'll engage the core, have a neutral pelvis. We'll allow the shoulder blades to fall back, down the back. The chest is lifting and the chin is slightly tucked. Palms forward. Tadasana. Breathe in your Tadasana. Smooth breaths. We'll do 3 rounds of sun salutation, A. On the inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Gaze up if you can, or forward. Exhale, fold down completely. Head hangs. Inhaling for a flat back, like a nice tabletop. Exhaling, fold down. Bend the knees, planting the hands on the mat. Stepping back into a high plank. Now, if you're working on your upper body strength and your core strength, just hold this for 2 good breaths and then go into a downward facing dog. The other option would be to step back into a high plank, exhaling, knees, chest, and chin, inhaling, baby cobra, and then exhale to a downward facing dog. And the final option is the full vinyasa that has chaturanga, which is basically a low push-up. So you're in high plank, exhale to low plank, Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Choose one or, try a variety. Let's stay in downward facing dog for another couple breaths here. I just want you to know that there's no pressure to do, the full vinyasa, because if you're not careful, you can probably hurt your shoulders and chaturanga. So just, plank is strengthening. Just hold plank, it's fine. 2 more deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Deep inhale, settling into the pose. Complete exhale. Head is relaxed. Gaze is between the feet. Easy gaze. Inhaling, looking between the hands. Exhaling, stepping the feet up to meet the hands. Inhaling for a flat back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, arms up, gaze up. Exhale, hands to heart center, and Tadasana. We'll do that 2 more times. Keep in mind the modification options that you have. Inhaling, arms up. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling, planting the hands. Step back, high plank. Either hold or go through your vinyasa. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. Holding here for 5. Continuing to breathe. 4. Finding steadiness. 3. 2. And 1. Gaze forward. Exhale, step or hop your feet up to meet the hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, bending the knees a little bit. If you want, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center and down by the sides. 1 more time. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, plant the hands. Go through your vinyasa or hold in high plank. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale to downward facing dog. Breathe here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhaling, look forward. Exhaling, bring the feet to hands. Deep inhale to flat back. Exhale to fold. And inhale, rise all the way up. Bringing the hands to heart center. Let's breathe here. Just smooth breath, a couple breaths in Tadasana. You should be a little bit warmed up. Maybe your heart's beating faster. As you get tired, just don't forget about the alignment points. Don't forget to keep the core engaged, the legs engaged to protect your joints and your muscles. Okay. From here, let's lift up the right, or I won't try to mirror you because I think I'm going to get confused if I do that. So let's lift up the left leg, step it wide. Feet are wide apart. Traditionally, they're right under the ankles, but I have really long arms, so I'm not going to do that. And I don't think that everybody has to do that today. So any width that's comfortable. We'll go into triangle pose. And so if something is uncomfortable, you can adjust it and move your legs closer or farther apart. So let's begin by lifting the heel, or lifting up the toes on the left foot and spinning those toes inward slightly on the left foot. Keeping the core engaged, keeping the hands on the hips, lifting through the rib cage, maintaining that lift through the rib cage, drawing everything up here. And with this toe movement, you're spinning your left quad, your left inner thigh inward. Imagine that your action in your leg is like this, spinning it in. Lifting through the ribs, and then begin to rotate that right foot out, completely parallel with the side of the mat. So this back one is about 45-degree angle. Let's take a deep inhale here, lifting the ribs, keeping the chin slightly tucked. Exhaling, twisting that left hip inward. We really are rotating it. That movement of engaging the upper thigh and rotating in, really focusing on that. Let's bring our attention to our feet now. While we maintain that spinning engagement, we'll be pushing in to our left heel as if we're trying to slide it backwards on the mat. We're also pushing in to our right foot as if we're trying to slide it forwards. That will fire up your quad. So just standing here, if you're fully engaged like that, is a workout. But what we're doing right now is protecting our joints and making sure that we're doing this pose in a safe and beneficial way. Maintaining all of those points, try to cycle through and think about them each. Inhaling the arms out to a T. Deep inhale, raising up the ribs. Exhale, as if someone's pulling your left thigh backwards. Begin to lean towards the right. And then when you've leaned as far as you can, tuck the arms down. The right hand on the inside of the right calf. Gaze can be straight ahead or gaze is up. My internet connection's unstable. Gazing up here, pushing into the feet, so trying to slide the right foot forward, trying to slide the left foot back, spinning in that thigh, the left thigh, keeping the length in the ribs. One more deep breath here. Engaged completely. Let it out. Inhale, reaching up, coming back up to stand. Parallel the feet. Inhale, exhale, jump together or just step together. I'm gonna check and see. Somebody texted me something important. Standing in Tadasana. Now we're going to do the other side. So stepping wide or jumping wide if you want to. Now we're just doing the same thing on the other side. So let's lift up the toes on the right foot, spin those toes in, lengthening through the ribs, spinning the left toes out. We're maintaining this rotation in the right hip, spinning it in like we're trying to twist our foot. We're pushing into the heel, trying to slide it backwards, pushing into the left foot, trying to slide it forwards. Deep inhale, lengthening the ribs up. Exhale, leaning out towards the left. When we can't lean any more, begin to allow that left outside of the hand to come to the left calf. And right arm up, gaze up. Keep that engagement there. The engagement will prevent your hips from getting funky in this pose. Sometimes if I go into it and I'm not thinking about it, my hips will click or feel funny. But if you keep that engagement and keep spinning, keep pressing into the feet, you'll rely on your muscles. One more deep breath in here. Release it. Inhale, lifting up through the left hand. Exhale, spinning both feet to parallel. And stepping to Tadasana. All right, we're gonna come back to a wide-legged pose, stepping out. We'll do triangle on the right, and then we'll transition into a warrior one. So spinning in the left foot, toes, 45-degree angle. Spinning out the right foot, engaging the left hip, sliding, trying to slide the feet apart. Inhaling our arms up here. Let's extend the ribs and reach the armpits towards the sky for a minute. Deep inhale, exhale, allow the arms to fall out again. That's the lift in the ribs that you want to have. With the next exhale, begin to lean. Come into your triangle pose. Deep inhale here, keeping the engagement. Fire up that quad on the right. Exhale, begin to bend that right knee. Keeping the feet exactly where they are. Just bend gently, not letting the knee go past the ankle. If that means that you're bending a little bit less, Then go ahead and bend a little bit less. If you need to adjust your feet, adjust your feet. Keeping that right hip hugged up and under. Keeping the spinning engagement in the left hip. Deep inhale here, exhale. Keeping the upper body still, begin to straighten that right leg. Back to triangle. Deep inhale here, lengthen the spine. Exhaling, release up. Parallel the feet. Let's do a wide-legged forward fold here. If you need to adjust your feet, go ahead, but just trying to keep the outer edges parallel or even slightly pigeon-toed. Let's engage the front body, tucking the tailbone slightly. We want to keep the quads engaged too. Hands to the hips. Inhaling, chest up. Exhaling, begin to hinge at the hips until your back is flat. Keeping those quads engaged, you should feel a hamstring stretch here. Pushing the heels apart, that engages the back of the legs. Deep inhale with the flat back, and then exhale, release down. Hands to the floor if they touch. Otherwise, you can just let them hang or grab elbow to elbow. You can let your upper body relax here, but don't lose that engagement in the legs and the feet. Pushing apart on the mat. Let's take a deep inhale, coming to a flat back with fingertips on the floor if you can, or to hips. Another exhale to release. Inhale to flat back. Exhaling, use the core strength to lift all the way up. Let's do the other side. Exhaling, rotating that right foot inward, pivoting on the heel, rotating the left foot outward. We're maintaining the twisting action in the right quad, the right upper thigh. We're maintaining engagement in the left leg, pushing the feet apart. Let's inhale the arms up, really lifting through the ribs here, engaging the core, doing the work with the feet and lightness in the upper body. Exhaling, arms long, and begin to hinge forward, allowing the back of the hand to meet with the leg. Inhaling up, not forgetting about the engagement, not forgetting about twisting. Deep inhale, exhale, bending into the left knee for warrior two. That's actually kind of extended side angle or side angle pose. Deep inhale here in side angle pose. Exhale, straightening that leg. Take a deep inhale, lengthening the ribs. Exhale, use the core to lift up. Parallel the feet. Hands to hips. Bend the knees and jump back to Tadasana. So we'll go through another similar flow, but now we'll incorporate a little bit of warrior one. So coming back to a wide stance, begin to rotate the left foot inward to a 45-degree angle. Rotate that right foot outward. Inhaling the arms up. Coming back to that lengthening that we were working on earlier. Same foot and leg engagement here. Deep inhale. And now on the exhale, just follow the movement of the twisting in your left hip and begin to rotate the hips towards the front of the mat or towards where the right toes are pointing. The hip points are now both pointing forward. Now the tendency here, if you're not engaging, is to allow the arch to happen in the low back. But if I engage those feet, push away, I can make all the work happen in the hips and below. And then from the hips up, I can keep my spine straight. So strive for the engagement in the hips and below. Pushing apart, keeping the front body engaged. Deep inhale here, and exhale, begin to bend into the front knee, maintaining that engagement in the hips and in the front body. This is warrior one. Breathing here in warrior one. One more deep inhale. Exhale, straightening the leg. Coming back, parallel the feet. Hands down to the hips. Deep inhale here and relax. If you want to step to Tadasana, you can. So let's just go right onto the other side. So rotating in the right toes, rotating out the left, keeping the engagement in the legs, the rotation in the right hip, lifting the arms up. We're facing the side of the mat completely first. Deep inhale to lengthen through the ribs. Exhale, follow the rotation of the right inner thigh. Follow that engagement to face the hips completely towards the back of the mat or where the left toes are pointing. Engage the front body. Don't allow that overarching in the back. Deep inhale here and exhale, begin to bend into the left knee. This is kind of a mini warrior one. If you want to step wider, you can, but in order to keep good alignment, it's good to start with a short stance. One more deep inhale here and exhale. Inhaling, coming back to wide-legged. Step to Tadasana if you'd like to, or maintain your wide stance. Now we'll go through our warrior one and take it through a little bit of a flow. So let's inhale our arms up. If your arms and shoulders get tired, you can just maintain the hands to heart center. Otherwise, inhaling arms up, coming back into warrior one on the right side, rotating in the left, rotating out the right foot. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, turn. Deep inhale, exhale, bending into the right knee. One nice deep inhale in your warrior one. Exhaling, lifting the back heel so that you're on the ball of the foot, coming down, fingertips to frame the right foot. Now let's scooch the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Maybe step back a little bit further for a low lunge here. Breathe in the low lunge. You should be getting a stretch on the front of the hip. Deep inhale and exhale. Drop the knee if you want to. Pulling the chest forward through the arms. Gaze is forward. Don't forget about the neck. If your knee's down, lift it back up. And now we're going to pick up the left foot and place it on the outside of the left hand. And drop into a malasana, a squat pose here. Breathe in your squat pose. If you need a little bit of a prop underneath the heels, you can put a blanket under your heels. Otherwise, try your best to lean back and place the weight on the heels through the toes. Takes a little bit of Achilles flexibility, but it's good. It'll allow you to have an Achilles stretch and a hip stretch here. Pushing into the elbows on the inside of the knees. My janky light source and move it over here. It's better. Really just enjoying this squat. Toes are pointing in the same direction as the knees. Chest is lifting. One more deep inhale here. And on the exhale, bringing the palms down to the mat and stepping back into a high plank. Either stay here or go through your vinyasa. Exhaling. Inhaling, upward facing dog. And exhaling to downward facing dog. Taking a couple breaths here. Dropping the knees if you'd like to take a child's pose. That's just fine as well. Breathing here for 3 more breaths. Deep inhale and complete exhale. 2, relaxing the neck. And 1, inhaling, looking forward. Exhale, stepping the hands up, the feet up to the hands. Inhaling, flat back. Exhaling to fold. And inhaling all the way up. Hands over heart center. Down by the side. We'll step wide to do that flow on the other side. So come back to a wide-legged stance. Inhaling the arms up or keeping them in prayer pose if your shoulders are tired. Really getting that length in the ribs, maintaining the engagement in the low belly. Turning in the right heel, rather turning in the right toes. Turning out the left toes. Rotating through that right hip, just activating the legs. Pushing into the mat with the right foot and the left foot. Deep inhale to lengthen. Exhale, follow the rotation of that right hip to face towards the back of the mat. Pressing in with the outer edge of the right foot. Engaging both hips and both legs. Deep inhale. Exhale, bending into the left knee for warrior one. Another deep inhale here. Engaging the front body, doing the work in the hips. Exhale, lift up onto the ball of the right foot. Plant the hands down around the left leg. Maybe step back a little bit so you can get a good low lunge here. Couple breaths in the low lunge, just really stretching out the front of the right hip. You can bring the knee down if you'd like to. Breathing here, pulling the chest forward, gazes forward. Don't let that neck hang. Begin to scooch the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Deep inhale. Exhale, bringing the weight into the left foot a little bit. Step that right foot up to the outside of the right foot. And sit back for a Malasana squat. The feet are wide, wider than the hips maybe. Toes are pointing out in the same direction as the knees. Elbows pushing into the inside of the knees here. Deep inhale and exhale. Breathing, 2 more breaths, pulling the chest forward. Neck is straight. Inhaling and exhaling. Planting hands here on the mat. Stepping back into a high plank. I know you're probably facing the back of your mat. Go through your vinyasa. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Let's breathe here for 5 breaths. 2. Sinking into the pose. Pushing into the mat with the fingertips. Stretching through the shoulders, lifting through the shoulders, tilting the tailbone towards the sky. 2 more breaths. And 1. Gazing towards the hands. Move the feet towards the hands. Inhale, flat back. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rising all the way up. And hands to heart center. We'll come into a tree pose for balance. So if you'd like to come back to the top of your mat so you can see me better, go ahead and do that. Tree pose. We'll begin by bringing the weight into the left foot. We're standing here in Tadasana or with the hands on the hips, keeping our spinal alignment, keeping our front body engaged, allowing the shoulders to relax. Bringing the weight into the left foot, spreading the toes to give you better balance. Distributing that weight throughout all 4 corners of the foot. Begin to bend in the right leg. Come up to maybe the tippy toes of the right foot. If this is enough for you, then you can just stay here. Maybe you begin to turn that right leg out. You're maintaining stability in the left leg and the torso, but you're just opening that right hip. Maintain this. This is a good spot for you for tree today. If not, go ahead and bring that right foot up to the calf. Really pushing the knee backwards and feeling the stretch in the inside of the thigh here. If that's easy for you and you want to move on further, grab the ankle and place it on the inside of the left thigh. The only option that's not okay is putting the foot right on the knee because that's putting pressure kind of from a weird direction on the knee, so that's not a good thing to do. Once you've got your fullest expansion of tree pose, you might want to find a spot on the ground that's not moving to gaze at to help with your stability. Checking back in with the alignment of the spine. Maybe begin to raise the arms, cactus the arms, grow your branches however you want to. Not forgetting about the front body engagement. And just breathing here in tree. Appreciating all of the little muscles and bones in your foot that are doing their job to keep you stable. You don't even really have to think about it. They just kind of do their job for you. Deep inhale here. Exhale, bringing hands to heart center. If you feel stable, then follow along with me here, but if you want to come down and shake out your leg, go ahead and bring the foot down and shake out the legs, and then come in to awkward chair pose, which is where we're going next. If you're stable, you can just lift that right leg. Begin to turn it like you're crossing your leg. Right above the ankle goes right above the knee. Deep inhale here, pushing the knee down. Exhale, begin to bend into the left knee, dropping the hips back, keeping the spine straight and leaning forward a little bit. Awkward chair pose. You should feel a stretch on the back of the right hip here. Deep inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, come a little bit deeper. Find a wall or something if you need some help with stability. That's totally fine too. I should have said that for true. Coming deeper into the awkward chair pose. Inhaling, stand up and release the pose. Shake out the legs, arms, move it out, and we'll begin to set up for the other side. Bringing stability into the right foot, bringing the weight into the right foot. Hands can be at heart center or on the hips. Coming up to the tippy toes of the left foot, finding that stability in all the toes of the right foot. Opening up the left hip, placing that foot wherever you placed it on the other side. Using a wall if you need to, or whatever you got around you to help you find your balance. Breathing here in your tree. Experimenting with your arm positions. Not forgetting about the engagement in the core, about the engagement in the legs and the hips. This is not a passive pose. You're pushing the knee backwards to feel that stretch in the inner hips. One more deep breath here in tree. If you did this transition last time, try it again. Releasing the left leg, crossing above the ankle to right above the knee. Engage that foot, flex the foot. Pressing the knee down and begin to exhale into an awkward chair pose. Hands to heart center. Feel that stretch on the left hip. Use a wall if you need to. 2 more good breaths here in awkward chair. Inhaling, stand up and release. Shake out the legs. Coming back to the top of the mat, we'll just flow it out. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bend the knees, plant the hands, step back, high plank. Go through your vinyasa, meet us in downward facing dog. And breathe here for 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Inhaling to gaze forward. Exhaling, bring the knees down and sit back onto the heels. We'll do camel pose as our back bend today. So if your knees are sensitive, I like to put a blanket under my knees sometimes because we're going to come up to kneeling like this, right onto our knees. I have my knees hip width apart, and I have my feet also hip width apart, and my toes are tucked. My legs, my upper legs, and my torso are in line. Everything from the knees up is in Tadasana right now. Breathing here for a moment. Camel is a back bend where we'll remain on our knees like this, and we'll be extending our heart up towards the sky and maybe even putting our hands back onto our heels. But we'll just do some without touching the heels first to just warm up the back a little bit. And then if you feel like you're ready to go deeper, then we can guide you into that. So a deep inhale, extending the chest up. A full exhale, engaging the lower core. So we want to picture there's a down arrow starting at the belly button, a down arrow starting at the belly button to stabilize the hips and the low back, and up arrow starting at the ribs and the diaphragm here. So we got two opposing arrows. We want the bend to occur in the upper back. We don't want it to be kind of a crunch in the low back. Hips remain over the knees. Deep inhale, exhale, down arrow. Inhale, up arrow. Exhale, down arrow. Inhale, up arrow. Leaning back a little bit more. As you breathe, think about those two opposing arrows. Keeping the neck engaged to lift the head. Keeping the head up. Let's not crunch it back yet. Lifting the chest towards the ceiling. Just finding a small back bend here. Taking a couple breaths. Maybe on every inhale, you lean a little bit further, remembering to engage the belly, releasing the shoulders. If it becomes too much at any point, just use the core and come back up to kneeling. One more deep breath here. Exhale, engage the core, come back up to straight. Sit back onto the heels, spine long. Smooth breath. We'll do that one more time, and then we'll begin to reach for the heels if you feel ready for it. Deep inhale, exhale, engage the front body. Inhale, lifting the chest towards the ceiling. Keeping the neck engaged. If your neck feels really fine and you like to release it back, go ahead and do that. That would be like this. But not everybody is cool with that. So, you can use the muscles of your neck to keep it in line. Deep inhale, chest towards the ceiling. Exhale, engaging the belly. Dropping the shoulders. Inhale, chest towards the ceiling. Exhale, engaging the belly. One more deep breath. Exhale, lift up. Sit back onto the heels. Try not to fold forward. It's a lot of strain on the back. Inhaling back up. Last time, if you want to go for touching the heels this time, you can put your hands on the lower back, your imaginary pockets. This can be another good way to enter into the pose, but I find that you're using this as a prop sometimes rather than using your muscles to go as far as your muscles will allow. But putting your hands in your back pocket, on the exhale, engage the low belly. Inhale, lifting the chest high. Breathing, keeping the hips over the heel, over the knees. Inhaling, extending. Maybe exhaling, reaching the hands back to the heels. Dropping the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping the front body engaged as much as you can. And drop the head if you'd like to. Relax there. Breathing here. Deep inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, fill up the body with air and exhale, engage the front body and the core to come up to kneeling. Unfurl the toes, sit back onto the heels, keeping the spine straight here for a moment. Maybe remove your blanket if you were using that. We'll just do a little bit of core work here. So let's cross the ankles behind us, sit back over the feet, and come up into a boat pose. So let's bring most of the weight onto the hips. You can place fingertips behind you, about a foot behind you, just to give you support. Bent knees with the toes on the mat. Deep inhale to lift the chest, exhale, leaning back to lift the feet off of the mat. Try to bring those shins up so that they're parallel with the floor. If you feel balanced here, you can lift the hands off of the mat as well. Bring them out straight, lifting the chest high. Let's take a deep inhale here. Exhale, cross the right foot over the left and pull the knees in towards the armpits. Reach with the hands. Exhale, crunching in. Inhale, boat. Exhale, crossing the left over the right. Really exhale all the air out when you do that. We'll do 5 more of these, alternating the crossings. Exhale, knees to armpits. Inhale, boat, lifting the chest. Exhale, knees to armpits. Inhale, boat. Exhale, cross. Inhale, boat. Exhale, cross. Inhale, boat. Exhale, cross. Inhale, boat. Exhale, cross. 2 more, you got this. Inhaling, boat, chest lift. Exhale, cross, bring the knees in. Inhaling, boat. Exhale, bring the knees in. 1 more, inhaling, boat, chest lift. Exhale, bring the knees in. Inhaling, boat. Exhale, cross, bring the knees in. Hug the knees, roll back onto your back. Give your back a little massage. Roll around. Good work, everybody. Do an easy twist just to loosen up the spine. Come to laying on your back, head and neck relaxed, shoulders relaxed. Bend the knees in so that the heels are towards the hips. And on the exhale, begin to release both knees over towards the left. You may need to scoot, lift the hip and move it to the right a little bit to give yourself some more space. Allow those knees to fall to the left. If you have space, you can bring your arms out wide and gazing in the opposite direction of the legs, so to the right. Breathing here, trying to keep both shoulders on the ground. Feeling the twist, releasing through the spine. Allowing your gaze to begin to be softened. Feeling the impacts that the practice has had on your body. When you're ready, inhaling the knees back up center. And set up for the other side, scooting the hips to the left a little bit if you need to, and allowing the knees to fall out to the right. Gaze to the left. On every exhale, allowing the twist to just relax deeper. On every inhale, lengthening the spine. Inhaling, knees back up to center. Maybe hug the knees into the chest. Roll onto one side and make your way up to a seat. Now we'll go into a waterfall pose, or if you don't like waterfall pose and you want to take a regular Shavasana, you're welcome to do that as well. So regular Shavasana would just be laying down on the mat, corpse pose, feet spread wide, arms wide, final relaxation pose. But if you'd like to take Vipariti Karani for your final relaxation, either roll up your mat into a roll like that, or grab your block and place it about 4 inches or so away from a wall or some kind of a flat thing. So I'm going to put my blanket right here, a couple inches away from the wardrobe. You'll come to laying or sitting kind of close to the wall with your knees out to the side and scoot your hips as close to the wall as you can, and then lift them up onto this bolster or whatever object you have, your block, your blanket, and then slowly laying back onto the back with the hips pretty close to the wall or whatever object you've got. Your tailbone should be slightly past the blanket, that's why there's that little gap there. And then the back of the hips should be lifted by the blanket or the block. So you can situate yourself a little bit to get comfortable. We'll extend the legs up straight against the wall. Allow the arms to fall open. Maybe lifting the right shoulder and tucking the shoulder blade under. Lifting the left shoulder and tucking the shoulder blade under. Taking a deep breath and exhaling all out through the mouth. One more like that again. Deep breath, filling in the belly, ribs and chest. Exhale it all out. Relaxing into this pose. Feeling the effects of gravity on the legs. Turning ourselves upside down for a moment. Allowing all the blood, fluids in the legs to come back to the center. Tucking the chin slightly. Allow the neck to have a natural curve. Relaxing here. Bringing your eyes to close. And remain in Vipariti Karani for another minute or so. And I'll tell you when it's time to come out of it. Feeling the hips sinking into the block or the blanket. Imagining the flow down the legs into the belly. Allowing the hips to be completely relaxed. Allowing the belly and the back to be completely relaxed. Allowing the shoulders to relax. Arms, hands, and the fingers. Relaxing the neck, and the muscles in the face, the forehead, the cheeks, the eyes. Relaxing, releasing. Begin to deepen your breath again. Bring a little bit of movement into your fingers and toes. Begin to bend the knees. Place the feet flat on the wall. You can open them out with the soles of the feet meeting, if you'd like. Or you can simply begin to bring the knees together into the chest and leaning over onto your side. You can extend the bottom arm up above your head. Roll over. Make your way slowly up to a seated position, just like where we started. Sitting on a bolster if you'd like. Palms up, palms down, whatever's comfortable. We'll take 3 deep breaths together to close our class. You may keep your eyes closed if you want to. Inhaling and exhaling. Deep inhale, filling up the belly, and exhaling completely. One more deep inhale, filling up the belly, the ribs, the chest, and exhaling completely. Bring your hands to heart center. The light and the love in me salutes the light and the love in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today.